Hey, it's a Saturday morning. I had my private lesson this morning, and I went to the gym, lifted legs. I am tired, but I wanted to record this for all the big guys out there that are watching and thinking about how to improve their jiu-jitsu. The best way to improve your jiu-jitsu is to not be a big guy anymore. Duh, Chris, we know. Yeah, but are you actually doing it? Because for the longest time, I said I was going to try to lose weight and I was going to try to get in shape, and I knew it was going to help my jiu-jitsu, but I didn't know how, or maybe I wasn't motivated enough to actually do it. And now that I'm doing it, my jiu-jitsu is improving. I've lost, I don't know, last time I checked, 7 pounds since I started working out at the end of December. And that's not a whole lot, but it's made a whole lot of difference. And what I mean by that is, if you watch my Instagram, I've been lifting weights, I've been going to yoga, of course, going to jiu-jitsu. I'm more flexible just with 4, 5, 6 yoga classes. I feel more flexible. My posture has improved, not because of yoga, but just in general, my core muscles. Even just walking, like a lot of times as a big guy with back problems, I had back surgery a couple years ago. Walking would make me tired and would make my back hurt. And I've been walking like a fiend and my back's not hurting as much anymore. So this morning I had kind of a bit of a wake-up call. It wasn't anything that I didn't already know, but it was sad to hear. I don't know, depressing to hear a little bit. My coach, my private lesson guy, Professor Greg, he tells me, he's like, hey, your mind is creative. Your mind knows what to do, but your body just isn't able to do it yet. My mind is creative. My mind knows what to do, but my body just isn't ready to do it yet. That is frustrating as hell. That's possibly the most frustrating thing about being a big guy. And so since other big guys watch my YouTube channel and they want more content, I decided to record this because I just want to encourage you that, yeah, the best way to get better jiu-jitsu, of course, is to not be a big guy in the first place. But if you are a big guy, here are a couple things that you can do. Number one, embrace the suck. Understand that it's going to be hard. Understand that it's not going to be easy. Understand that it's going to be a challenge, and embrace it and do everything you can to mentally, fortify yourself, mentally prepare yourself for how difficult this is going to be. Jiu-jitsu is already difficult as hell. Jiu-jitsu is already tough, but it's even tougher if you can't move your body the way that you want to. So we're already in a difficult art, sport, activity, whatever you want to call it, and it's made even harder by our size and our physical limitations, I guess. Limabilities? God, what was that? But number two, I call it the 2-for-1 special. One of our other professors, Professor Fernando, maybe a year ago or something, I'm trying to learn the technique. And learning the technique was super hard because my body, again, wasn't moving the way I wanted it to. And Fernando says, hey, Chris, maybe you have to move twice instead of once. If you got to hip out, instead of hipping out once like all the regular smaller guys, he says, maybe you need to move twice. Maybe you have to hip twice to get to the same spot. These other guys only have to hip once. Now, I call that the 2-for-1 special. When I'm in a position and I'm trying to do a technique, I'm trying to do a move, and it's rainy in Southern California. Sorry about the background noise. If I'm in a position and I'm trying to get out or trying to get to a technique, sometimes I have to move twice, whereas it would take somebody else, a normal sized person, a smaller sized person, once. And so I guess the moral of that story is to give yourself permission to modify the technique. Now, that doesn't mean you create your own jiu-jitsu. That doesn't mean you create your own style, okay? Learn from your professor, do what your professor tells you, do it as your professor taught you. But if he says to shrimp, or if he says to shoulder walk, or he says to hip out, and you can't because it takes you 2 moves where everybody else can do it in 1, have a talk with him. Explain to him, hey, is it cool if I do it in 2 moves instead of just 1? And maybe that'll help. Give yourself permission to be different. Give yourself permission to have to do a little more, go a little further, or like I said, the 2-for-1 special. You have to do 2 when it only takes everybody else 1. Whether it's flexibility, whether it's endurance, whatever it is, maybe you need to do the 2 where it only takes everybody else 1. And that brings me to my next point. While you are thinking, modifying, trying to find a way that you can do the technique with your size, learn the damn technique. That would be number 3 of this impromptu freaking list, I guess. Learn the technique perfectly. Now, if I got to hip twice to get to the same spot, but damn it, get to the spot. Because if your technique doesn't work, your crap doesn't work. Your jiu-jitsu doesn't work. If your technique is crap and you're just like, well, I can do it like this, and since I weigh 300 pounds and I can just do it like this, and the guy can't get out, you're cheating yourself and you're cheating the technique. Even though I want you to be successful, even though I want us to have success on the mat as bigger guys, and maybe it takes you 2 for 1, where it takes everybody else 1, it takes you 2, that's okay, but that doesn't give you permission to ignore the technique. Maybe you're not flexible enough to do a, I don't know, triangle the way everyone else does it. Okay, sometimes I have to hip. It's easier for me, and frankly, it's tighter and better, at least in my experience, if I can get to the side and get a bit, kind of a different angle on the triangle. Instead of the straight up triangle like you see from guard, I tend to kind of hip out, turn my body, get a little more of a 90-degree angle, whatever. But I know how to do the damn triangle. If I have to drill it or for practicing it in class, I can do it. I just know that it's easier and I'm more successful if I get to the side. But the problem, the point, I guess, of everything I'm trying to say is to learn the damn technique. If you don't know the technique, you don't know jiu-jitsu. Learn the stinking technique. That would be number 3 on my stupid list, or maybe it's number 4. I lost track. Learn the stinking technique. If you learn the technique, and maybe you can't do it, but you know how, someday you'll be able to do it. Someday you'll be able to do it without modification. So my rant is going crazy. You got people driving by and the noise in the background with the rain. I'll say the last thing in this impromptu piece of encouragement, hopefully it's encouraging, is if you can't do it slow, you can't do it fast. I have found that with a lot of bigger guys, they explode. They want to, I see this opportunity. I can explode and get out of this position. Okay, that's something you can do with your natural gifts. Congratulations. But if you can't explode, because when you get with me, and I'm doing my killer whale, side pressure, whatever you want to call it, and you can't explode, now what? If you're relying on your physical gifts, speed, power, explosiveness to get out of a situation, to get into a situation, you're playing yourself. That goes back to technique. If you can't do it slow, you can't do it fast. If you can't do it slow, you can't do it fast. And that's one thing I had to learn the hard way. I kept trying to do it fast because I wanted the drilling and the private lesson classes to be more realistic. I wanted it to feel what it feels like to go fast, and and it doesn't work, especially as a big guy, because if you're doing a 2 for 1, here's the big takeaway. Listen to this. If you're doing a 2 for 1, by the time you get to step 1, they know what's coming. And they'll get the hell out of whatever it is you're trying to do because they can feel what you're trying to accomplish. So if you're not tight, if you don't have pressure, you don't have connection, you don't have all the things that you need to do in order to pull off a technique, they're going to get out. So 2 for 1 special means nothing if your technique isn't good. 2 for 1 special means nothing if you can't do it slow. And I can tell you from experience, when I say do it slow, that means ratcheting. If you're a big guy, sometimes you can't just swing that leg over. You have to kind of click, 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 click. I call it ratcheting. You might have to ratchet the leg around, but the only way you can successfully ratchet the leg around is if you have enough pressure with your hips and your posture and your position to hold them there while you ratchet that big old tree trunk around. Please, for the love of God and all things holy, learn the technique and be able to do it slow. If you can do it slow with proper pressure, posture, connection, then you'll be fine. And then the 2 for 1 will be successful. So don't think when I say 2 for 1, it means explode, go fast, go heavy, be strong. No, it's not jiu-jitsu. That's you just muscling fools around. Learn the technique, be able to do it slowly, and then instead of trying to catch somebody at the proper moment, you can trap those fools because you've put them in a position of where you're in control and you have dominance. And that dominance is earned. Not earned by gravity and God because he gave you big bones and girth or whatever you tell yourself for being heavy, but earned because of your jiu-jitsu. So, random Saturday rambling. You guys been saying in the comments you want more content, and I guess I kind of think a lot like, maybe I should, what should I post? But, I wanted to get like a better camera and blah, blah, blah. But you know what? Gary Vaynerchuk, if you follow him, Gary V, he says, document, don't create. So, documenting this morning when Greg said, you're creative, but your body's not there yet. And then, of course, all the other things I just rambled about. So if you watch this all the way to the end, do me a favor and leave me a comment. Give me a happy face or a thumbs up or a right on or I don't know, killer whale emoji. I don't know if there is a killer whale emoji. Do something in the comments. I know you read it. They read it. Thumbs up, something. So I know that people are actually watching this thing, because if you are, I'll make more. If you're not, that's okay too. I'm doing this for me. I'm documenting my journey. But since people asked, I figure I'd share. Take care.